Alright guys, if you haven't already, do please like and subscribe so you don't miss out in the future. But for today, we are going to be painting up the epitome of French cavalry, and that is the Cuirassier. Heavy cavalry, armor plates, just awesome units through and through. So this painting tutorial was requested by Saul Edmonds, so thanks for that. And as I say to you all the time, if there's anything you want me to do, just let me know. So I started off with a black base coat over the blue plastic, and then we've used bone white from Game Colour, and that's what we're using for the breeches of the units. Some of the units did have brown trousers. I have seen some pictures with blue trousers, so do your research and go off of whichever regiment you're most interested in. However, most of the photographs I found had this sort of creamy colour for their trousers, their breeches. So next up, I mixed up a bit of magic blue and night blue, 50-50. Some people might say it's a bit light, but by the time we've put the washes on, it dulls it down. Plus, I always find if you're painting miniatures of the smaller scale, it's nice to use slightly brighter colours just so that you can see them a bit more on the table. If you're painting something 28, 30, 54, yeah, you can use dark colours and it doesn't really matter. But if you're painting small miniatures, I always go for a shade lighter just so I can see them. Not necessarily historical, but I could make the argument there that those uniforms back in those days, they weren't using long life dyes. They would have been very dark to start with, but give it a few weeks out in the field with the sun bleaching it, dirt. I mean, they didn't have washing machines, so they would have been beating it with sticks basically to get dirt off of them. They're going to very quickly fade, so I don't think it's really an issue. But as I said, this blue is used for the saddle furniture and the tunic of the troopers. Next up, we use silver from Game Colour, and this is going to be used for this parts of the helmet, which is silver, the cuirasses, the swords, the scabbards. I won't do the bits yet for the horses. I'll wait until I'm coming back after I've done the wash, and then I'll do the bits then, but they won't be forgotten. But always just take your time when you're doing it, so that way you don't get that paint into areas it shouldn't be. And if you do, I mean, I'm using acrylic paint, so you can always just dip your brush into some water and then quickly clear it that way. So acrylics are quite forgiving. I haven't used oils for quite a while, but I am tempted to buy some and see how painting the miniatures goes with oil paints, because I haven't, well, when I say I haven't done it for a while, I'm talking 10, 15 years, so I really have no memory of doing it, as I was just a child at the time. So, interesting idea. Maybe I'll do it soon. Also, if there's any other cavalry regiments specifically that anyone's interested in, let me know, and then I can get those painted up. I mean, I've still got the Carabiniers to do, so they are going to get done at some point, but if you want them sooner, just leave a comment down below. Likewise the Dragoons and Lancers. So next up we're going to use Game Colour Ice White, and that's for the sheepskin on the front of the saddle. And then I'll also use it to do the stitching. I'm not sure if it was stitching, but around the edge of the saddle furniture, the blankets, there's like a white lines, and so we'll be using it to go over those. There are some straps holding the scabbard to the belt, but again, I won't do those at this stage. I'll do those once I've applied the wash later. You could do it now, but because they're quite small, I don't really see there's a need to do it. If it was a larger, sort of 28 plus, I would do it now, then apply the wash, and then re-highlight. But on these smaller scales, I don't really see the point. I'm just painting them for mass effect on the table. So next up we're going to use System 3 Crimson, which as I said before is a craft paint that I just got from the warehouse, so it works, does the trick. So I guess, yeah, I could do a video on that also using craft paints rather than miniature paints and see what differences we get. Before these we're doing the epaulets. You could do, with a cuirass, there is always some fabric around the edge just to basically stop it from rubbing. On these ones that would be red also, so if you've got a fine detail brush you can do that. Facing colours of the troopers, there were different colours, some I think were pink, orange, yellow, red. There were quite a few different colours, so you could do whichever one you want. For me, I'm just going for the sort of almost stereotypical red here, because I think it stands out quite nicely and contrasts with the blue quite well. It is a shame on these miniatures that they don't have the upright plume, which you see in a lot of the photos. Not entirely sure why, but maybe if someone does know, did they not have them in the 1815? Maybe budget cut, so to speak. I'm not sure. If you know, let me know, because I would be quite interested to find out. But yeah, so for these miniatures it's mainly epaulets, collars, and you could do on the sheepskins, there's these kind of like, again, don't know what the names are, but the trim of it, these little triangular shapes, I've done them in red also. Then we've got Tamiya colour flat flesh, just which I'm using for their faces. I just water it down a little bit because it does have the tendency to sort of go gloopy, and then it will pull off for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. So if you're thinking about getting a flesh colour, I would say avoid Tamiya flat flesh. It does the job, but it's not particularly good, so yeah, look for something else. But because the hands are in the gauntlets, it is just the faces on these miniatures that need to be painted, so it's not a huge area, which is quite nice. So the next thing I did was apply a dark brown wash. I just used some brown and black craft paint, watered it down and then applied it. And then I go in to do all the highlights and the picking out of different features. So this is where I go back in with the ice white, and I will do the scabbard straps. I'll also touch up a little bit on the sheepskins as well. It's at this stage where I find you can easily go overboard if you want to, and just really start picking out all the detail, and you could really make these into real little pieces of artwork. But for me, the goal is more to get them looking good for the table rather than good as an individual showpiece. So I just go through it and pick out the main areas which either I haven't done before or just need a little bit extra. There's also the cartouche box strap, which is white, which goes across their chests and back. Then we're going in with the black from Game Colour. This is a bit of a gloss black, so I'm using this for all of the horse leather work, because I find it gives it a nice bit of shine and stands out slightly better. You can use it for just doing sort of a regular black, but I would then recommend dry brushing over the top of it with a bit of sort of dark grey as well, very dark grey, otherwise you will get hair that is gloss. But I predominantly use it just for boots and leather work. And now we get to the bright bronze from Game Colour. This is going to be our final colour. On the helmet there is a raised piece, a crest, which is done in bronze, or I'm using the bronze for. It stands out quite nicely. Also you'll find on the cuirass they have straps which come over, which were bronze. We would call them scales in the household cav, but I'm not sure what the French would have called them. But yeah, it's a piece which connects the rear cuirass to the front. So I paint that bronze. I also put a dot on the back of the cartouche box, just for their regimental or imperial symbols, whatever they happen to have on the cartouche boxes. Then I would also go onto the scabbards and just touch up around especially on the around where the hand is, with a little bit of bronze, just to give it a little bit of difference from the silver of the sword itself. And there we have it, the end result. To be honest with you, I'm very happy with the way these came out. I think it took me about 2 hours to paint them and flock them, sort of get them all to this finished state, so they were pretty fast to do, and yeah, I think they've come out nicely. I've got managed to get enough detail in there for my liking without spending too much time on them, and yeah, I think all I need now is a trumpeter and a standard bearer. The regiment will look good. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you've taken some good points away from that. And if you've got anything that you want to see me do, whether that's scenery, battle reports, or miniatures, let me know down below. And until next time, guys, take care and keep gaming.